Welcome back to Pokemon episode summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 442, King and Queen for a Day. The episode begins with Ash and the gang just leaving Metallica Island after Ash's victory against Spencer at the Battle Palace. And they were now on a boat, heading for Ash's next Battle Frontier destination, the Battle Tower, which Scott said was located just outside Cremony Town, before he left at the end of last episode. The boat was taking Ash and the gang back to the Kanto mainland, since that's where the Battle Tower was located. During the long trip on the boat, Ash became very, very excited to challenge the Battle Tower as he looked at the 5 symbols he had collected so far in his symbol case. Max reminded Ash that he only needed to collect 2 more symbols in order to have the full set of 7, although Max also reminded Ash of something that would occur before that. When Ash got the 6th symbol, the location of the secret 7th Battle Frontier facility that was kept under wraps would be revealed. Me and Brock were talking about how Scott said that the Battle Tower would be a really tough place, even for Ash to challenge, and wondered who the Frontier Brain would be. While Ash declared that he would beat the Frontier Brain at the Battle Tower no matter what, pumping his fist up into the air, right as the boat arrived at the mainland, which Ash and the gang had been long anticipating because they could see the mainland in the distance for quite a while. Right as Ash and the gang got off the boat, and Ash immediately declared that he was going to find the Battle Tower right away, he was interrupted by 2 confetti balls popping right in front of him, stopping him from running to the Battle Tower and trying to find it, as Jesse and James greeted Ash and the gang, being the ones who popped the confetti. And they stated that the reason that they popped the confetti was because Ash and the gang had won something, and they were celebrating. Obviously, Team Rocket were in some fancy disguises, and Ash and the gang were curious as to what they won, and were very excited to find out. So Jesse explained how they and their Pokemon had won free massages due to being the 777th person who got on the ship in the past couple years. Apparently, that was prizeworthy. Ash and the gang were a bit skeptical of why the fuck they had won massage treatment, but they eventually pushed aside their doubts as to whether the offer was real or not, and decided to accept the offer, and were taken to a large white tent. As Jesse and James changed into professional massage uniforms, and they instructed Ash, Brock, May, and Max to all lie down on separate tables, and also instructed Pikachu, Eevee, and Bonsly to sit on a different table, the 3 of them together. Ash and the gang started to relax as James started the massage session, but just as James started this, Meowth took the opportunity of Ash and the gang being caught off guard to reveal himself as he pushed a button on his remote control after coming out from behind some curtains in the tent, which triggers metal bars to come up onto the massage tables, locking Ash and the gang to the tables. Following this, Team Rocket took off their disguises, but didn't even bother with their motto, as they simply just approached Pikachu, Eevee, and Bonsly, intent on stealing the 3 of them, or at least Pikachu. Basically, Team Rocket had trapped Ash and the gang so they would have a better chance of catching Bonsly, Eevee, and Pikachu. Pikachu tried his best to fire a Thunderbolt to send Team Rocket blasting off, but the Thunderbolt didn't work. So Ash simply ordered Pikachu to use Thunderbolt again, but the Thunderbolt didn't work again, and this time Ash saw the reason why. Basically, Team Rocket had created a glass wall that almost looked invisible because of how transparent the glass was, and the electricity was bouncing off of the glass, preventing Team Rocket from getting hit. Meowth then proceeded to press another button on his remote control, which sent a metal cage dropping down from above the tent and trapping Pikachu, Eevee, and Bonsly inside. So, Team Rocket quickly go to grab the cage with the 3 Pokemon, but before they could do so, Ash grabbed Sceptile's Pokeball from his belt after managing to shake it free and causing it to roll up to him, and he essentially pressed the Pokeball open with his mouth since his arms were occupied, and this meant that Sceptile came out of his Pokeball. So, Team Rocket were forced to try and deal with Sceptile, with Jesse sending out Dustox and James sending out Mime Jr. However, James immediately grabs Mime Jr. before it could do anything, and starts hugging it, praying that it would never get hurt in battle, deciding that Mime Jr. was actually too cute to battle, so he wanted to prevent it from doing so. So this meant that the battle was between Sceptile and Dustox, and Sceptile immediately jumped up and hit Dustox with a Leaf Blade, which knocked Dustox into a wall of the tent, almost ripping the tent in the process. Dustox was angry as it used a Psybeam at Sceptile, which knocked Sceptile back into the wall of the tent, once again stretching the wall even more as it threatened to rip. Just then, Munchlax happened to forcibly pop out of its Pokeball from May's bag that was on the ground, and it landed right in front of Jesse, James, Meowth, and Mime Jr. May immediately got excited at the fact that Munchlax's habit to forcibly pop out of its Pokeball actually was a good thing for once, and told Munchlax to use a metronome. So, Munchlax tilted its hands, and eventually it summoned up a Sandstorm attack, much to its own surprise, because it wasn't used to using this attack, and metronome had never caused it to use this attack before. The sandstorm got so fierce that Ash and the gang's restraints were ripped off, so they were able to hunker themselves down as the tent was sent blown away, with Team Rocket blasting off with the tent as well. Team Rocket weren't the only ones that got blasted off with the tent though, as the cage that Bonsly, Eevee, and Pikachu were in was sent flying as well. And Eevee, Pikachu, and Bonsly were all sent flying individually because the force of the sandstorm caused the cage to break open, setting the Pokemon free. After the sandstorm settled, Ash, Brock, Max, and May got up from hunkering themselves on the ground, and they all made sure that they were each okay, and were honestly surprised that they were okay after the fucking raging sandstorm, and they were also relieved they were okay, seeing what happened to the tent. Now, only its framework remained, and the actual tent was blasted off. Ash and the gang and Sceptile confirmed that they have no injuries, but when they go to check on Bonsly, Pikachu, and Eevee, Only Eevee walks forward from some of the rubble of the tent, but Ash and the gang noticed that Bonsai and Pikachu were missing, and they wondered where the fuck they were. Max realizes the truth when he looks up into the sky and remembers Team Rocket blasting off, and comes to the conclusion that Pikachu and Bonsai must have been blasted off with Team Rocket as well. Speaking of Team Rocket, we then cut to them, and we see that they were injured after being blasted off. But James quickly got up from his injuries anyways, because he started to panic. He only saw Dustox. He didn't see his Mime Jr. and wondered where it went. As for Jessie, she quickly got up too, because she had realized that Wobbuffet was still with them, because it forcibly popped out of its Pokeball, but Meowth was gone, just like Mime Jr. And she wondered where he could have went. We didn't see where they went, because the tent was currently hanging on a plaquette in the middle of the city, and the Pokemon were trapped inside. So this caused Meowth, Bonsai, Pikachu, and Mime Jr. to scream in fear, because they didn't want to fall out of the tent that was dangling from a plaquette. Unfortunately, though, all four of the Pokemon trying to break out of the tent just caused the bottom of the tent to rip open, and all four of the Pokemon to fall out by a fire hydrant, with Meowth being the first one to fall, followed by Pikachu, then Bonsai, then Mime Jr., who all land on Meowth. So that meant that Meowth was the last one to get up, and he was in pain more so than the others, because Meowth broke the others' fall. Just then, a huge, luxurious car showed up that had an electric symbol on the front of it. And once the car parked, three men in black suits stepped out. Absolutely terrifying Meowth, who cowers behind Pikachu, as Pikachu, Mime Jr., and Bonsai reacted in shock. But Meowth, I guess, had no reason to worry, since the men immediately go after Mime Jr. and Bonsai, trying to grab them. But before they can do so, the tent falls down from the roof, the remainder of it anyway, on the blanket that it was stuck on, and it covers the men, blinding them, allowing all four of the Pokemon to run the fuck away. And as the three men give chase on foot, Meowth states his belief that the men were sent by Giovanni to go after him and deal with unresolved problems in Team Rocket. Basically, he thought that maybe he had failed Giovanni, and Giovanni was angry. But then why would they be going after Bonsai and Mime Jr. specifically? Anyways, eventually, when the Pokemon reached a street corner, they figured that they were home free, so they slowed down a little bit, only to get cut off as the car from earlier pulled in front of them. It was the three men, and they immediately hopped out of the truck and tried to capture the Pokemon again. But the Pokemon just run the fuck away again, this time through a thin alley that Meowth spotted. It was a tight squeeze, but the four of them weren't able to make it because they were so small, and the three men couldn't make it because they were too big to fit in the alleyway. Two of the men decided to just continue trying to get in the alleyway anyways, while the third one called someone on his phone to let them know what was happening. We would later find out that who the man was phoning was a film director who we would later meet. Eventually, the Pokemon made it through an alleyway and got under a bridge instead, and they decided to take rest there. But Meowth just couldn't relax whatsoever, because he was too busy getting upset, wondering what would happen to them if they got caught, and what they had done wrong to even be getting chased in the first place, while Pikachu, Bonsai, and Mime Jr. were just confused at why Meowth was going so apeshit when it appeared like they were currently safe. Just then, though, right as Meowth stood up, trying to calm himself down, the four Pokemon heard the three men. They had tracked them down and were chasing them once again, so the four Pokemon run up to the side of an embankment, with Meowth falling behind Mime Jr., Bonsai, and Pikachu, and the three men falling behind him. Eventually, two of the men slip on the embankment and fall back down. One of the men gets back in the car, though, and tries to speed up to the four Pokemon, and cut them off as soon as the four Pokemon happen to reach the street again. But the four Pokemon just jump on and over the car. While Meowth jumped, though, he realized that the electric symbol on the car was actually like a decoration on the car, because he accidentally broke it off the car after hitting it while jumping, and he threw it aside. As the four Pokemon continue to run, they eventually come across some industrial pipes and hide in them. And luckily for the Pokemon, their hiding spot worked very, very well, because the three men ran right past the pipes, onwards, not knowing where the four Pokemon went off to. So the Pokemon breathed a sigh of relief and relaxed for the one time since the whole chase started. Now, the four Pokemon had to try and get back to Team Rocket and Ash and the gang, so they would walk through a residential area, trying to get to them as they passed by clotheslines hanging over their heads. The Pokemon couldn't even focus on the clotheslines, though, because they were so tired and hungry from doing so much running. Right as Meowth complained about his hunger and tiredness, the other three Pokemon came to a stop behind him, and he realized that they were in even worse shape than he was. They couldn't go on at all. Meowth was soon forced to stop as well, because his stomach just wouldn't stop grumbling, along with Pikachu, Mime Jr., and Bonsai's. Just then, though, Meowth spotted a woman carrying like 8 boxes of Pokemon food into her house, but she was having trouble getting them all through the door, because they were all stacked on top of each other, so it was basically too big to fit. Which gave Meowth an idea. He was going to help the woman get the boxes through the doorway, and then try and take one of the boxes for himself. So he started to walk over to the woman, stealing some clothes from a clothesline on his way there, dressing up as a worker, of course in disguise, and he offered the woman some help. The woman accepts, and Meowth shows her how it's done, as he carries each box individually into her house. However, when he gets to the last one, he mischievously smiles as he tries to walk away and steal it, but he gets caught by the women. Meowth got mad at this because he just wanted food for himself and the other Pokemon, but thankfully for him, the woman was kind enough to let Meowth keep the last box of food for himself as thanks for his generosity helping her out. And Meowth thanked her for this. So Meowth went back to the spot where the exhausted 3 Pokemon were, Pikachu, Bonsly, Mime Jr., and offered them portions of the box of food. Although Pikachu and Bonsly were skeptical at first, due to Team Rocket usually being their enemies. Well, really, it was only Pikachu that was skeptical, but Bonsly was just following Pikachu's footsteps because he felt like he needed to. But basically, Pikachu thought that Meowth just stole food, and he said that he would never eat stolen food. But Meowth then explained himself, saying that in reality, he actually worked very hard to earn all that food, fair and square. So Pikachu, Mime Jr., and Bonsly believed Meowth, and were happy with this, as they dug in to the box of food. With all 4 Pokemon cheering at the concept of finally having a decent fucking meal. Meanwhile, we then cut back to Ash and the gang, who were walking through the same city that Meowth, Pikachu, Bonsly, and Mime Jr. were currently in, all 4 of them with concerned looks on their faces, really wanting to find their Pokemon, Pikachu and Bonsly. And Brock was especially stressed, realizing that Bonsly, being a baby, would constantly get hungry, but it didn't eat solid food, only the bottled stuff that Brock provided it. But if Bonsly was missing, it didn't have that bottle with it, so it could die of starvation. We then cut back to the 4 Pokemon, where we find out that Brock was right, because Meowth, Pikachu, and Mime Jr. were eating the food, but Bonsly wasn't eating anything, and was just crying his eyes out. Meowth was confused, so Pikachu explained the situation to Meowth about how Bonsly couldn't eat solid food. Meowth was annoyed, but he quickly took Bonsly's bit of the food that was in a can and filled it up with some water from a nearby faucet, so that Bonsly could essentially drink the food through a straw because the food would be so soggy, which made Bonsly extremely, extremely happy. However, the lunch break was interrupted by the same car from earlier, which screeched to a halt next to the Pokemon with the electric symbol thing super glued back on. The 3 men then hop out of the car, forcing the 4 Pokemon to run the fuck away. Meanwhile, we then cut back to Jesse and James, who were looking for Meowth and Mime Jr. through an alleyway, with James even looking all throughout different trash bags and trash cans at the end of the alley. Eventually, Jesse lifted up a blue trash bag in the alleyway and found underneath it a Bonsly and Mime Jr., but they had scars around their necks. The Bonsly wearing a blue one and the Mime Jr. wearing a yellow one. This led James to be the first of him and Jesse to come to the conclusion that the Mime Jr. wasn't his if it was wearing a scarf. And Jesse realizes that Brock's Bonsly never wear a scarf either, so it likely wasn't the right one too. Just then, the scarf of Mime Jr. and Bonsly run off out of the alleyway, scared of Team Rocket. As a result, since Ash and the gang happened to be passing by that exact alleyway, the Bonsly and Mime Jr. happened to run straight into Ash and the gang. Ash and the gang examined Bonsly and Mime Jr., wondering what was up with them and why they looked so scared, when suddenly a screaming horde of fans, mostly women, came running towards the gang and chased after Mime Jr. and Bonsly as they ran the fuck away from them. As the chase was going on, all the fans were shouting, Bonsly King and Mime Jr. Queen, which confused Ash and Max, but May, being a girl, knew exactly what they meant apparently. At first, before May could explain, Brock interrupted and stated with disappointment that the Bonsly that just ran by wasn't his own Bonsly, because he had recognized the Bonsly from somewhere, just like May had recognized both the Bonsly and Mime Jr., and she explained where she recognized them from, introducing them as King Bonsly and Queen Mime Jr., just like the fans had said. Then, May and Brock explained that King Bonsly and Queen Mime Jr. appeared in a TV drama, which meant that the Bonsly and Mime Jr. were actors from it. They added that the drama was very famous, and it was a romantic drama that was about a love triangle that developed into true love between Bonsly and Mime Jr. I see clips of this drama, as May explained that even when Bonsly and Mime Jr. knew that they loved each other, they would still try and be torn apart by a whole bunch of other people, and that's why it was about love triangles, because it was always about people who were interested in Bonsly and Mime Jr., while Bonsly and Mime Jr. were only interested in each other. Brock starts to get upset at the fact that 2 Pokemon got to be happy romantically, and he didn't, and he starts to cry out of jealousy, leading Max to make fun of him, which just makes Brock even more upset, as he starts to hit his head against the wall, which causes Ash, Max, and May to make fun of Brock even more. We then cut to a bridge that was over a river that had a whole bunch of people on it, as Meowth, Mime Jr., Pikachu, and Bonsly ran straight into the middle of the bridge, still being chased, and it was revealed that the bridge had a movie set on it, and all the people there were contributing to making a movie of some sort. There were cameramen and a whole bunch of other positions in the film industry there, such as the casting crew, who immediately recognized Mime Jr. and Bonsly and questioned where the fuck they had been, addressing them as King Bonsly and Queen Mime Jr. And the 3 men that were chasing the Pokemon then disguised themselves from their black outfits and basically were revealed to just be regular-ass film crew people, leading me off to realize that the 3 men that were chasing the Pokemon must have mistaken Bonsly for King Bonsly and Mime Jr. for Queen Mime Jr. And since they needed King Bonsly and Queen Mime Jr. for their shoot, they must have been chasing them so that they could retrieve Bonsly and Mime Jr. Just then, the director of whatever movie was being made was holding a script and came up to Bonsly and Mime Jr. and examined them and realized that Bonsly and Mime Jr. didn't have King Bonsly and Queen Mime Jr.'s signature scarves, so he knew that they couldn't have been Queen Bonsly and King Mime Jr. The director had trouble believing this, so he compared Bonsly and Mime Jr. with a picture of Bonsly and King Bonsly and Queen Mime Jr. and came to the conclusion for sure that this King Bonsly and Queen Mime Jr. actually weren't King Bonsly and Queen Mime Jr., just regular-ass ones. Meowth then got an idea, telling himself that he was going to try and fool the director into thinking that Mime Jr. and Bonsai really were Queen Mime Jr. and King Bonsai, so that Mime Jr. and Bonsai could hopefully get payments which Meowth could steal. However, as Meowth was about to run up to the director, he was grabbed by a disguised Jessie, who already had this idea. Meowth was certainly shocked to be grabbed by Jessie, but he was also relieved to see her, as well as James again, who were in disguises as talent agents, and basically, while James happily reunited with his Mime Jr., hugging it, Jessie went up to the director and stated that this Bonsai and this Mime Jr., Brock's and James's respectively, were just as good, or even better, than the real King Bonsai and Queen Mime Jr. With Jessie also lying that not only Mime Jr., but Bonsai was hers, and she would more than be happy to lend Mime Jr. and Bonsai to the director so he could film them instead of King Bonsai and Queen Mime Jr. The director was skeptical, but since he currently didn't have access to the real Queen Mime Jr. and King Bonsai, he was basically forced to agree, much to Jessie's delight, as she hoped that she could get some money out of this. So, to make Mime Jr. and Bonsai look more like King Bonsai and Queen Mime Jr., they were given new scarves that looked exactly like the ones King Bonsai and Queen Mime Jr. would wear. Pikachu wanted to go off and find Ash to tell him and the gang what Team Rocket were doing with Bonsai, although Meowth stopped him, saying that Team Rocket would do something bad to Bonsai if Pikachu left. So Pikachu was forced to stay, as Mime Jr. and Bonsai stood next to each other and were demonstrated by two human actors dressed as a Bonsai and Mime Jr. what they were supposed to do. Basically, humans were demonstrating Mime Jr. and Bonsai as a future performance, and the two men in the costumes were doing so while they were being instructed by the director. Basically, they walked by each other, completely oblivious to each other, but suddenly they turned around, having faintly noticed each other, and they scream each other's name with joy as sparkles appear in their eyes, and they jump into a hug out of pure love. Jessie clapped for the two men's performances as Mime Jr. and Bonsai as they got out of the costumes, and Jessie then kneeled down to Mime Jr. and Bonsai and told them to reenact what the two men had did, since they were going to reenact the two men. But Bonsai started to cry out of nervousness. Jessie was unsure of what to do as she started to panic until she decided to just pick Bonsai up and comfort him, although she ordered Mime Jr. to do its part of the performance, and Mime Jr. more than happily obliged. Watching once again as the two men did another demonstration in Bonsai and Mime Jr. costumes, and then Mime Jr. basically walked alongside the Mime Jr. actor, mimicking it, much to the director's delight, as now he had forgotten all about the doubt he had with replacing King Bonsai and Queen Mime Jr. and was excited to have these new Pokemon. He was so excited that he offered Jessie, James, Bonsai, Mime Jr., and the rest of the film crew some free lunch. So everyone sat down at a table on the bridge, eating some lunch. Team Rocket were thoroughly enjoying the food that they were eating, and Pikachu even got some food as well, which it was honestly enjoying too. Mime Jr. enjoyed the food, but it was still really excited to perform again. It actually really enjoyed it. Bonsai was not eating, but instead drinking milk, and was being fed by James as opposed to Brock. Jessie was acting all nice to Pikachu while they ate, since Pikachu was still unaware of Team Rocket's true identity, not being able to see it through their disguises. But then Jessie directed her attention to Meowth, whispering her plan to him about stealing Pikachu when the time was right, and when she could get him as an extra. Basically, her plan was to try and get Pikachu into the movie or series, whatever the fuck was being filmed, as an extra, so that once filming was finished, Team Rocket could swoop in and easily steal all the Pokemon who would be in the same spot. Meanwhile, we see Ash and the gang walking through a street where there were many posters of King Bonsai and Queen Mime Jr. on the walls of buildings around them, advertising the upcoming movie with them. Because, it was the huge popular movie and series that May and Brock were talking about earlier. They had decided to leave the real Queen Mime Jr. and King Bonsai, not knowing where they were anymore, as they continued to look for Pikachu and Bonsai, with May extremely worried as to where they were. But then, she was the first one to spot the three men, back in their disguise outfits, holding King Bonsai and Queen Mime Jr. Why were they not at the film set, you may ask? Well, before the director was actually pleased with James's Mime Jr. and Brock's Bonsai, he had ordered the three men to go back out and try and find King Bonsai and Queen Mime Jr. again, and they did, not knowing that the director now didn't need them, and they had found them, although when Ash approached the three men and asked them why they had King Bonsai and Queen Mime Jr., the three men claimed that their main job was related to a film set, and they were talent agents, constantly being in charge of looking after the talent that was in the movie, and that included King Bonsai and Queen Mime Jr., so they felt obligated to make sure that they were alright. And as one of the men showed Ash and the gang his ID card to prove that he was a talent agent, the talent agents explained that they had found out, after examining King Bonsai and Queen Mime Jr., that they were very sick, almost in a goddamn coma, and had to get to a Pokemon Center immediately. And they asked Ash and the gang if they knew where one was located. Ash and the gang admit they didn't know the location of one off the top of their head, but Max looked on his Pokénav and helped out by finding a location of one in the city and gave directions. The three men thanked Max and were about to go when suddenly Brock stopped them and explained how his Bonsai was missing and asked if they had seen a Bonsai recently. The three men think and admit that they remembered seeing a group of Pokemon, including a Bonsai, who they initially thought was the Bonsai King, and they also add that they saw it with a Mime Jr., Pikachu, and Meowth near a bridge. Before the three men could explain that Mime Jr., Meowth, Pikachu, and Bonsai were currently still on the bridge at the film set, Ash and the gang ran off anyways, towards the bridge, trying to look for it, since Ash was so determined to get back Pikachu that he just couldn't wait anymore, and he had to try and find him as soon as possible, without even taking time to catch his breath or prepare. With Ash and the gang gone, one of the men decided to phone the director again and let him know that they had found the real King Bonsly and Queen Mime Jr., but they were very sick and had to be taken to the Pokemon Center first, and that's exactly where the three men were heading. The director was ecstatic to hear that King Bonsly and Queen Mime Jr. had been found, although Jessie overheard the director and the men's conversation and refused to let the director axe out James's Mime Jr. and Brock's Bonsly, since that would mean that Team Rocket probably wouldn't get any cut when the movie was released, and they needed that money. So Jessie demanded that the director just keep going with James's Mime Jr. and Brock's Bonsly, and the director agreed, giving Jessie time to think for herself, as she potentially realized that maybe Team Rocket could get away with stealing the real King Bonsly and Queen Mime Jr. as well, when they inevitably eventually came back after they were healed at the Pokemon Center. Jessie's planning was interrupted, though, when Ash and Brock arrived, followed closely by May and Max, as Ash and Brock screamed out the names of Pikachu and Bonsly respectively from a distance, happy to see them, as Pikachu and Bonsly were happy to see their trainers running directly into their arms, and Ash and Brock proceeded to hug Pikachu and Bonsly for a long time. Jessie was flabbergasted as her glasses fell off her face, but she quickly corrected them, looking away to not reveal her identity. She realized her plans were fucked, since Bonsly and Pikachu would not be let go by Brock and Ash again. The director then went up to Ash and Brock, asking what the fuck was going on, and why they had Pikachu and Bonsly, leading Ash and Brock to explain that they were Pikachu and Bonsly's trainers. The director understood this, but admitted that he really needed Bonsly for the show. The director was so desperate to have Bonsly in the show that he, as well as some of his casting team and cameramen, told Ash and the gang that if they helped out by letting Bonsly be used, then he would let them be extras in the movie who would walk in the background during the main scene with Bonsly and Mime Jr. And he also said that he would let Ash's Pikachu join in as well. Ash and the gang were very excited at the concept of acting in a movie and having Pikachu act in a movie, and so they agreed to this. While Team Rocket were listening in to the director and Ash and the gang's conversation, as Jessie came up with a plan to still try and steal the Bonsly and Pikachu, and she ran this plan by Meowth, and he admitted that he liked it. So Jessie proceeded to implement it, admitting to the director that she thought including Ash and the gang and Pikachu would be a great idea. So the director declared that it was officially time for filming to begin and asked everyone to take their spots. So several crew members on the film went high up on a crane with a camera to do an overhead shot, while the director and two more crew members watched on their TV screens Bonsly and Mime Jr. standing in the middle of the bridge, ready to do their scene without any demonstrations. Without further ado, the director then said, "Action," and the acting started. Ash and May started off by walking in the background as Bonsly and Mime Jr. started to do their part, facing each other once Ash, May, as well as Brock and Max walked off screen, and the director got very excited as the cameraman zoomed in on Bonsly and Mime Jr., and they ran over to each other, meeting in the middle of the bridge as they started to hug. But just then, Jessie, James, and Meowth implemented the plan by walking in front of Mime Jr. and Bonsly and starting to camera hog, while wearing some fancy costumes, with Jessie wearing a dress, which annoyed the director as he bitterly told them to stop doing whatever the fuck they were doing. And he had the cameraman cut the shot, which made Jessie mad, asking why the director cut. But the director was fed up since Team Rocket wouldn't get out of the way, and ordered some of his crew members to remove Team Rocket, and the crew members obliged, shoving Team Rocket very quickly out of the range of the camera, which just made Jessie even angrier as she tried to tend to her injuries that she got from being shoved, and she basically cursed out the director. James tried his best to reason with her, not wanting to face Jessie's anger, but Jessie got so mad that she declared she was going to do everything in her goddamn power to get revenge on the director by ruining his movie and also capturing Pikachu, saying that that was the most important thing at the end of the day. Without further ado, the director resumed the filming at the spot where Mime Jr. and Bonsly hugged, and the camera zoomed in on them, but before the scene could finish, an explosion went off somewhere off camera, causing a whole bunch of dust to float into the camera view and basically interrupt the shot, pissing off the director again. The director got even more pissed off when the smoke faded and the dust faded, and as a result, Team Rocket was revealed, having thrown off the disguises as they start to do their motto, with Wobbuffet and Mime Jr. joining in. The director was so mad at Team Rocket for interrupting yet again, as, still with the script in his hand, he ran up to Team Rocket and shoved them off camera, literally headbutting them, while shouting, "Cut!" demanding that the cameramen stop filming. The director proceeds to yell at Team Rocket to no end, scolding them for their constant interruptions. But Jessie responds by getting back up and headbutting the director as well, knocking the wind out of him as he falls to the ground. Brock and Ash got mad at Team Rocket for bullying the fucking director, as Brock angrily told his Bonsly to try his best to use a double edge on Jessie repeatedly, and Bonsly obliged, doing just that. James, in an attempt to defend Jessie, told Mime Jr. to use Mimic on Bonsly, which caused Mime Jr. to copy Bonsly's double edge and use it on it. Brock, in order to stop Mime Jr., tells Bonsly to use fake tears, which really annoys Mime Jr. with all the fake crying, forcing it to cover its ears, leading James to tell Mime Jr. to use Tickle on Bonsly to distract it instead, which makes Bonsly stop crying and laugh really hard, which by proxy causes Mime Jr. to stop covering its ears. The director was absolutely loving the conflict between Bonsly and Mime Jr. and thought that it would be perfect for an argument subplot in the movie, so he ordered the cameraman to film it all from up in the crane, and the cameraman obliged. James gets extremely mad when Bonsly stops laughing when he retaliates with Flail, hitting Mime Jr., so James orders a teeter dance, trying to make Bonsly distracted by dancing, but the teeter dance actually makes everyone start to dance, including the director, all the cameramen, Ash and the gang, and Team Rocket, including Meowth and Wobbuffet. Not to mention Pikachu, and Bonsly, and Mime Jr. too. The teeter dance was not only making everyone dance, but also confused as fuck. Although the director was still sane enough to be super happy with all the dancing, saying that the movie was going to be great with everyone dancing, and added that he could include everyone dancing in the movie, and even thought that he could win an award for the fact that he was able to choreograph everyone dancing, even though he wasn't choreographing shit, it was just Mime Jr. using teeter dance. Jesse got extremely annoyed, being confused and dancing, and thankfully, the teeter dance eventually lost its effect, and everyone stopped dancing. An angry Jesse sent out Seviper, trying to attack the director again to get her revenge, but before Seviper could attack, Pikachu used an Iron Tail to injure Seviper. In retaliation, Seviper tried to hit Pikachu with a Poison Tail, but Pikachu easily managed to dodge it, and then used a Volt Tackle, causing Seviper to go flying into Team Rocket. Jesse and Meowth were pissed off, as Team Rocket got blasted off as a result of the Volt Tackle spreading on them as well. But James was somewhat happy, since Mime Jr. was in his hands. He was just happy to have it back. With Team Rocket gone, the director yelled, "Cut!" causing the cameraman to stop recording, and the cameraman then congratulated everyone on a brilliant show. And we then see Ash, Brock, May, and Max lying in a heap of rubble, with Pikachu standing there extremely happily. And although it was a little nervous, because the Volt Tackle had destroyed the entire set, but Pikachu was happy because it had defeated Team Rocket. It didn't care that it destroyed the whole set, and kind of injured Ash, May, Max, and Brock in the process, because, they were kind of affected by its wild Volt Tackle, because Pikachu just got a little too hyped. The camera people were totally fine though, the director was just happy because he had an awesome fucking movie now. Would we get to see this movie? Nope.